and happy Palm Sunday. This is the Sunday that Jesus came into Jerusalem, and we're going to talk about that. I hope that you're well and your family is well, and if you have any palm branches outside, you can cut them and talk to your friends about Palm Sunday. We received them in church today, but you might have some in your backyard. Let's do our gathering song. I forgot last week, and I enjoyed doing that with you. We gather in the name of the Lord. We gather in the name of the Lord. We gather in the name. We gather in the name. We gather in the name of the Lord. This week, we're going to tell the story up until Easter. And next Sunday is Easter, a day of joyfulness. But a lot happens before then. Let's begin. God made Mary the mother of the Word, and a wordless baby was born who was the Word. And when the baby looked up into the face of Mother Mary, he saw a cross. And when the baby looked up into the face of Father Joseph, he saw a cross. Mother Mary and Father Joseph cared for the baby. They clothed him and fed him and kept him safe. And the baby grew. When the baby was about 12 years old, Mother Mary and Father Joseph and all the people of Nazareth went to the great city of Jerusalem for the high holy days. They went to the temple and prayed and learned. And soon they were ready to go home. And on the way back, Mother Mary and Father Joseph looked for Jesus. They thought that they saw him playing with the other children, but he wasn't there. They looked around and he wasn't there, so they hurried back to Jerusalem. They looked in the marketplace. They looked where they had spent the nights. They looked all over, and finally they went into the temple, and there he was. The priests and rabbis were listening to Jesus because he knew so much. And he was listening to them because he wanted to know so much. And Mother Mary and Father Joseph asked Jesus the question that parents ask their children, and children don't know how to answer. They said, "Why did you do this?" And Jesus said, "Didn't you know I would be in my Father's house?" Mother Mary and Father Joseph didn't understand, but they remembered. Jesus grew into a man, and one day he went to the river Jordan, where his cousin John was baptizing people. Do you see the back of John's head? He was a wild man. He wore rough clothing, and he ate locusts and honey. Jesus walked into the river and came up to John and said, "Baptize me." And John looked at him as if for the first time and recognized who he was. He said, "How can I baptize you? You are the Messiah, the chosen one of God." But Jesus said, "It is written, you will come before me and prepare the way. Baptize me." So Jesus went down into the water, into the chaos of the water. And when he came up out of the water, some people said they saw a dove above him. And other people said that they heard a voice that said, "This is my son, with whom I am well pleased." After that, Jesus crossed into the desert to try and figure out what his work was going to be. But what was his work going to be? Jesus spent 40 days and 40 nights in the desert. There was not very much food or water. And one day Jesus heard a voice that said, "If you are the Son of God, turn this stone into bread so that you can eat." And Jesus said, "We will not tempt God." And then the voice suddenly took Jesus to the top of the temple and said, "If you will fall down, the angels will lift you up." And Jesus said, "We will not tempt God. It is written." And then it was as if Jesus was seeing all the world. And the voice said, "I will make you a king if you will bow down to me." And Jesus said, "I will be a king, but not that kind of king." And eventually, the voice went away. And Jesus thought about what his work would be, what he would be doing. And he thought about all the parables he had read when he was a young man. And finally he knew that he must become a parable. He crossed back over the River Jordan and began his work. When Jesus came close to people, they changed. They saw things that they could not see before. They did things that they couldn't do before. Do you see Jesus here? He's touching the eyes of a blind man. And after this, the blind man could see. Jesus knew that his journey was not over. But he came close to a lot of people and helped them. Jesus went to Jerusalem for the last time. It was the time of the Passover, and the city was full of people. They thought Jesus was coming to be a king, but he wasn't going to be that kind of king. They weren't paying attention. He wasn't riding on a great white horse. He wasn't bringing an army. He was riding on a donkey. And it wasn't even his. So that Sunday, when Jesus came into Jerusalem, people waved the palm branches as if he was a king. And then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Jesus went to the temple to teach. Every night he went back to the Mount of Olives with the 12. The people noticed this, and they said, "The Mount of Olives is where the army will come to defeat the Roman soldiers and set us free." One day when Jesus was teaching in the temple, he said, "Do you see that old woman over there? She is putting one coin into the box. You can't even hear it drop. Do you see that man over there? He's bringing so much riches as an offering. He has to have his servants carry them. And when you pour it in, the sound is deafening. Who do you think gave more?" he asked his friends. "Some say the rich man gave more. Some say the poor woman gave more. I wonder which one really gave the most." The temple guards said, "On Thursday we will take him." But on Thursday they could not find him. That evening, Jesus and the 12 hurried through the streets to a dark house, and they went to the upper room. They ate dinner, and Jesus told them when he broke bread afterwards. He gave thanks to God and said something like, "Whenever you break bread like this and share it, I will be there." He also took a cup of wine and thanked God for it. And he said something like, "Whenever you share a cup of wine like this, I will be there." What was he talking about? He was always saying things like that. How could they know? Still, they did not forget. And later, they would understand. Suddenly, Judas got up and left. The rest of them sang a hymn and then went to the Garden of Gethsemane in the Mount of Olives. Jesus wanted to pray, and when he finished, he came and joined the 12. Judas came up and kissed him on the cheek, and that was the signal for the temple guards to take Jesus. They came and they grabbed him, and they took him into the darkness. The 12 were afraid, and they ran into the darkness too. The night was a confusing one. Jesus was crucified, and after he died, the sky grew dark. Jesus was taken down from the cross and buried in a cave. A great stone was rolled onto it, closing it like a door. Saturday was so quiet, you could almost hear the earth breathing. On Sunday, it was the women who had the courage to go to the tomb to be close to Jesus. They wanted to remember, even if it was sad. When they came to the tomb, they found the stone had been rolled back and the tomb was empty. Jesus had died on the cross, but somehow he was still with them and with us, especially in the bread and the wine. When you look at this side of the crucifixion, you know there is another side. When you look at this side, Easter, you know that there is another side. This is the great mystery of Easter. And this is what makes all the difference. But look, if we leave it like this, the story has a beginning and an end. But we know that there is no end. So what can we do? Let's see. Maybe there's a way for us to make the story And now the story that begins with the birth of Jesus has no beginning and no end. And Easter is the time when we celebrate Jesus is risen, and he is our God. I hope you'll think about this during the week. And think about the whole story. It's all part of who we are as Christians. I pray for you and your family, and I hope that you're praying for the people of Tierra Santa Lutheran Church. Wish you a happy and blessed Easter, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you.